Mr. Ojo, you described the judiciary as the weakest link, but I want the two of you to answer this because I know you have your own perspectives to this.
Yes.
Calling the judiciary the weakest link, is it a self-inflicted weakness or an ascribed weakness?
Well, you know, the judiciary is a creation of law, like the other two arms, the legislature and the executive arm. And when you go through the Constitution, you will see the powers and functions given to each of these arms. The executive, the legislature is to make laws. Executive is to execute those laws. While the judiciary is now to apply and interpret the laws, interpret them while applying it to specific cases and deliver judgments. In cases between individuals and government, government and government, individuals and individuals, and so on. So theirs is, they can't just jump into any arena unless somebody invokes their jurisdiction. They can't even pass any comment. Though some of them, they have some privilege. If you go to their court, some of them will tell you how they feel about certain things. But it won't come to their jury, it will be off record. So until somebody invokes their jurisdiction, when you present a matter, then when they now come, it's like the act has already been completed. They are now coming after it all to now judge it and say you have done well or you have done wrongly. And then they can impose sanctions. That's why we say they are the weakest link, because they don't preempt, they don't determine the conduct. The legislature has already said this is how you do things. The executive is the most powerful, because even the judiciary cannot even enforce its own judgment. You understand? Just the same way the National Assembly cannot enforce its own laws. So it is the executive that is the most powerful in the trial. So that's why if even the executive has the power to muzzle the judiciary, and they have been doing it for so long, that's what led to this campaign for independence, financial independence for the judiciary, because executive, they always go cap in hand to the executive hand to say, pay us our salary now. The lawyers' salary has not, that the judges, magistrates, their salary has not been paid. Until recently, when some state governments now give them some autonomy, say, have your money, manage it the way you, so that you can be dependent. Because that has always been used to leverage on the judges by the executive arm. So that's why I say they are weak. But their strength lies in their weakness.
Okay.
Because ultimately, they can even remove the president.
Mr. Bani.
And that is actually the fact, you know, they can remove the president. To me, they are the strongest. In a perfect system, the judiciary is the most powerful. The one that can look at the man and take him and say, this man should be killed, and that man will be executed. No other arm of government possesses such great power. There is aura, there is fear when you even appear before the court. You don't make noise. Your phone rings, you know, your phone can ring in Aso Rock and you can get away with it, but not in the court. So they are the most powerful, you know, in a perfect system. And so the question is whether the issue being a weakest link, whether it's self-inflicted. I tell you, it's a combination of many factors. It's institutional, it's legal, it's constitutional, it's also systemic. You know, there are issues with judicial system, sometimes self-inflicted, because they need to realize how powerful they are.
You know why I asked that question?
Yes.
So that you can put it all in.
Yes.
I mean, within this year, 2016, we had judges arrested. We had monies allegedly recovered from them, some in foreign currency. We had cases being delayed. We had cases being adjourned. In fact, we still have cases that were adjourned since 2007, 2008. They are still on, cases ongoing, and all of that. So all of
it's a combination. I agree with you. We should be worried. Because in other crime, their own system is working. Ibori was taken to London, and within a span of time, within 1 year, his trial was concluded. He wasn't in prison throughout the entire time. Now, those contemporaries of Ibori, whose cases started even before Ibori's matter, have not gone beyond the plenary stage. So something is fundamentally wrong. That's why everyone should, be worried about our judicial system. Why are we having delays in our education system? Why are we having, problem in our administration of criminal justice, in both civil and criminal? So you find out that the Chief Justice of Nigeria the executive himself, that's the president, and even the legislature must all agree that we must rescue the judiciary by ensuring in making laws that will quicken the dispensation of justice. Most of them have been trying in some states. If you look at their procedural rules, you look at their issue of their preamble, they say the purpose is to ensure quicker dispensation of justice. They all put it. But along the line, bureaucracy, personnel, individuals, come and act as a cog in the wheel. So that even at the end of the day, with all the innovations we introduce, we find out that our system does not allow, the system to move the way it's supposed to move. So we all must be worried. I went to Singapore, and I listened to one of the great men that actually reformed the judiciary. For your information, the judiciary is one of the best in the world. It was very corrupt. It was also not working, but they sat down and said, must we continue this way? And they sat down and began to look at the system, begin to look at structure, look at personnel, and at the end, the judicial system today in Singapore is one of the best. Even in Africa, there is one called Kenya. They have also gone that way in reforming their judiciary. So it's a situation of all of us coming together and say, there is a problem. What are the issues? How do we identify it, and how do we solve it? So that at the end, everyone will be happy. If you look at the Criminal Administration of Justice Act I told you, some people started and said we cannot allow criminal trials to keep on lingering. That you start with preliminary matter, you go to Supreme Court. By the time you refer back to the trial court, the witnesses would have been either dead and all that. What do? They came up with that law. Some judges are yet to understand the import of that law. They still allow preliminary matters and make a ruling and allow appeal again on preliminary matter in criminal trials. Whereas the law has stopped all that nonsense.
And that is why some people have said that they would rather, lean towards the fact that the judiciary has brought itself to this stage where, how can, for instance, corruption be found in the judiciary?
It's a good question.
Because some people are saying you are supposed to dispense justice. You said you have the powers to say a man should be killed. Yeah. And because the judiciary has got this power, they decide to use it just anyhow. And maybe the highest bidder will get, So now, this year we saw the searchlights beamed on the judiciary, alleged corruption, huge sums of money that you can't even think of. Yes. How did the judiciary get to this point? Very good question. Over time, value systems around in Nigeria got eroded. Society. And judiciary is not, they're not living in heaven, they're living in the country. And of course, that the politicians, as I told you, any institution they want to destroy, they have this terrible hand, and so they discovered that judiciary is very powerful. They can make pronouncement, they can make a governor, they cannot make a governor. So what they did is that all the money they now pumped on it, and they are Nigerians. We have also talked about issue of personnel. Who are those coming to judiciary? There was issue with our recruitment process where the wrong persons are being recruited. And of course, when somebody has no integrity and is made a judge, he will become a pawn. And he becomes easily compromised. So issue of recruitment is also one of the contributions. So along the line, judiciary started going down in terms of this corruption you're talking about. Remember that almost all the CJNs, other pastor or this will keep on telling you that it's corruption in judiciary. All of them will acknowledge the fact. But nobody took that bull by hand and said, look, let's stop this until this government came in and said we cannot. But their system they use is even wrong. Because if you want to actually eliminate corruption, it has to be systemic, systematic, it has to be very technical, it has to be scientific. Yes. You don't just go and arrest, and then the system, you want to destroy that institution. No. What you do is that you have to be very systematic about it, you have to be very scientific. And that is what you see happen in other crime. Yes. They want to investigate crime, they follow a criminal, a suspect for many months and get all the information so that when the matter comes to court, it doesn't take much time for conviction to be secured. Yes. But this one now, it just, bam. The normal style we do in this country, nothing is being achieved. So I'm saying that if we want to fight corruption in judiciary or in any other arms of government, we have to be a bit more scientific about it, apply wisdom, and then get the system properly running so that even when this man exits, that's Buhari gets out of the system itself will become self-cleansing. Not all this method we use, sporadic moment, and we don't get a result.